Hey, this is Steve Moreland again with Success Publishing. This presentation here is designed to give you a look inside the actual deliverables, or what our product and service actually does for you if you are selected as one of the co-authors. So this is an opportunity for you to grab your pen and pencil and some paper and just take some notes so that when we do get on the interview, you'll have some good questions, but I want to give you most of this right now so you have a real good feel for what we do and why we're so unique in the industry. So the authority effect, as you should have already seen from Matt, kind of explained, first of all, what it did for him and how it changed his trajectory in his career from being a hardworking guy making six figures in income to catapulting him in less than 2 years to over seven figures, and doing that simply because he added an authority level of command with who and what he was as far as his personal brand. He did that by becoming an author. There's no other way that is faster or quicker to shortcut you or get you to that position as an authority. And the reason why you're not getting the business and the relationships and earning the dollars that you should by helping other people solve their problems, they simply are not trusting you right now. Plain and simple. You've already been through and understood the science and the other video on rainmakers or grinders. So let's just be very frank with that. The reason why you're not getting those dollars that you deserve is because people are not seeing you as an authority. So until they do, you are not going to be able to develop the relationships and solve the problems that you know your product and service can do better than anybody else on the planet. So let's show you what we can do and how we can change that. So I use this example right here because I love Elon Musk. I love his SpaceX company. I love what he's been able to do, which is break all of the glass ceilings that NASA and everybody else had done in the rocketry industry. And he does things now with the Falcon and the Heavy Falcon that no one else has been able to do, and do it for a fraction of the cost. And it's because he thinks differently. Now, as we talked about before, we cannot take someone that is not already a rocket and add our booster systems to them that's going to put them into orbit. So what we're dealing with, what I'm showing you with right now, is the Falcon rocket, and you're seeing a takeoff. You're seeing the explosiveness of the rocket fuel that's pushing that big, huge, multi-ton piece of equipment off of the launch pad. It's doing something called escape velocity. So in order to break gravity, to break where you're at right now, doing more of the same thing and not getting any different results, you're going to have to do something remarkably different. That's why you're here. So much more than just becoming an author, we want to show you why the science can fuel you as a skyrocket from Launchpad and get you to orbit. So here is what the Falcon actually looks in orbit, and you see the two boosters that are on the left and the right, booster 1 and booster 2. You see them now falling away once the rocket has made it to its orbit. That's where we want to get you to. That's the end result. So like I said, we can't propel something to orbit that doesn't exist. So you, as we're going to talk about in the interview, we need to find out what your plan is. We need to see that you are mature in your business environment, in your model, and that you know what you're doing. What you need our assistance with doing is getting you scale, getting you to a level, to an altitude that allows you to broadcast on a great basis what you're capable of doing, the problems that you're able to solve, the pain you're able to eliminate in your clients. Okay, so anyway, this is what we're doing here. Booster number 1 is the ability to get you that authority, and that authority comes by becoming a published author. Booster number 2 engineers your online branding, which you may have a little bit of right now, but probably not done very well. And by combining a website, a social media graphic package, an email signature, and our press release blitz, we can take you from where you're at, where you're stuck, and take you to that place where you deserve to be. So here's Matt. I want you to see the picture of this. This is Matt 11 years ago, and this is Matt beginning a presentation. And what do you notice about it? That's right. He's leading, before he opens his mouth, he's leading with his book. You see the books on the table behind him. This is the book when his first book. He's now published 7 or 8 books, but this was his very first one, The Unemployed Millionaire. And what he's doing before he opens his mouth is he's holding up the book. And that changed everything for him. And I want you to understand what that can do for you when you're able to hold up your book and begin by being introduced as an author. You already understand from the authority effect about the scientific level from Stanley Milgram, Philip Zimbardo, and Dr. Cialdini, the power of what authority does for individuals simply by the psychological trigger of a symbol. And a symbol can be a name and a title. That is what this does. So I want you to look at our proven shortcut. We've already mentioned it several times, but the chicken soup for the soul was the brainstorm that after Matt stumbled into the authority effect documents, the science, the research that came from Dr. Milgram, came from Dr. Zimbardo, and came from Dr. Cialdini, he then stumbled onto this book and he said, whoa, wait a second here. Not only was Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen absolutely wicked smart with coming up with this concept, but why couldn't we apply it into a different environment of helping people get to their authority in a quicker, more proven and shortcut fashion? And that's what he was able to do. In this environment, what they were doing is taking each author and putting a whole lot of their stories together and packaging it into a book. And that's exactly what we've done here is each author has to only write a chapter. That's exactly what you will do. And that's why we're only talking about 3 hours worth of work. They've done over 500 million copies that have been sold in over 40 languages since 1994, since this book debuted with this model. That is what we use. That's what we follow. So here's our process. We reduce the cost, we speed the delivery, and we create success. Now, if you're selected as a new co-author, the big question we have to ask you is, can you commit to 3 hours worth of work in the next 10 days to write your chapter? If you can do that, then everything after that, we do. We do everything after that. But we can't write your chapter because, well, ghostwriting really doesn't work. We want people to hear your voice. We want people to hear about your struggle. We want to hear about where you came from, how you got to where you're at right now, and where you're planning on going next, and why you are doing this, why you're here to make a difference. That's what captures people's attention. That's what changes the game when they understand why you're doing what you're doing. Remember what Dr. Cialdini said in the two categories of authority is people need to understand why you're an expert, why you're doing what you do. That's what this chapter allows you to do. In 30 days after that, that's when we transform you from what you've always been wishful to do. That is, be an author. We change it from a wish stuck on your launch pad, and we convert and transform you into an expert authority and skyrocket you toward orbit. Now, what does credibility do? What is credibility worth to you? When we put you into the publicity stage, then individuals on your book, on your website, on your emails, on your social media, they're going to see as seen on. And we're going to have you in all of the different search engines, on Google News, and on the major 4 news networks that are going to be carrying your publicity. So what is that worth to you? Now, here's what our press release distribution, this is just a few of the logos that we actually distribute to. Over 1,000 online news and media outlets worldwide are going to be receiving your press release. Now, because we've been doing this for some time, we know that at least 300 and as high as 400 of those outlets will carry your story. When they carry your story, your press release is backlinking them to your authority website that I'll show you here in just a second. And those backlinks create what's called organic search engine optimization, or organic SEO. It's the best kind. Your name, your book, and your website on 300 plus news and media outlets aiming back at one location, and that is your authority website. This is what Matt looks like, and yours will look very similar. You can see up here that you actually will have a logo up in the top. If you don't have one, we can create one. We're going to talk about who you are and why you are, and then we're going to put some type of power image here. Here's Matt in his Marine Corps fatigues on a stage in front of 10,000 people, basically showing them how to do what he does what he did and how he got there. Now, what we're going to be able to do is create the same type of image, because if you're in the process of going to orbit, we want you to also be able to gain public speaking events outside of what you're doing specifically right now. So not just inside your company, not just with your clients, but in the general vicinity of business in general. And this is what has happened to Matt, and what happens to many other people that move to this level is they become recognized. And when they become recognized, people are constantly looking for people with great messages, with great voices to be on their platforms. So then I want you to look in the middle of this. We call this the branding ribbon. And this is CNN, Fortune, USA Today, Fox, ABC, CBS, NBC. This is a ribbon here that brands, as people come to your website, they will actually see that you have been cited on these particular media outlets, and it adds an additional level of credibility and trust. Then what I want you to look at the bottom left, I want you to look at the free PDF download. So what we do is we actually take your chapter number 1 and Matt's chapter number 2, we package the cover on it, and we create a free PDF giveaway, and it becomes a lead magnet. Because what's going to happen here is we want people to be able to buy your book. That's great. But really what we want to do more than anything else, we want to create more leads for you. We want to create not only the credibility and the authority, but we want to be able to create people connecting with you. So what people are going to do is they're going to snag the free. That's what people do. They want to see what this book is about before they buy it. So they're going to hit the free. Now, when they hit the free, we run it to an autoresponder opt-in, and that opt-in says, hey, we're happy to give you this great book, the chapter, the excerpt of this book, but we need your name and we need your email. So as soon as they plug that in, they get the free PDF immediately, and guess what you get to your email inbox? You actually get their name and their email address. So what are you going to do with that? You know what you're going to do with it. You're going to contact them. You're going to send them an email back and say, thank you for downloading this. I appreciate your time and your interest. And by the way, what particularly interested you about my story? Did you see me on, a press release? Did you find me on social media? What is it that I can do for you? What kind of pain or problem do you have? Let me use my expertise and be able to make your life better. That is basically invaluable. So here's an example of 4 of our most recent authors. And as you can see on the bottom left, that is Dr. Strugar. She is a social scientist that works with people in addiction environments. Then you see Dr. Jim Storhawk on the bottom right. He is a MD in physical therapy. Then you see Ada Hofberg. She's from Iceland and has transplanted herself into beautiful Spain. And she has built an incredible entrepreneur operation there in Europe and is continuing to expand it worldwide. Then you see Maxwell. Maxwell is an awesome entrepreneur. He's from the country of Nigeria. He lives around the Washington, D.C. area. He is a first-class entrepreneur, and he has built a business not only here in the United States, but also launched a company in his home country of Nigeria as well. So that's just an example. As you can see how the templates are somewhat similar, but also have individual information about each individual. You see the free PDF download, you see the branding ribbon, but then you see the individuality of us framing each person's identity, their personality, and their perspective on success. Well, then we want to show you what our banners look like. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and going down the road, we create these banners for you, and they're formatted specifically for your social media channel. So here you can see Dr. Storhawk, you can see Dr. Strugar again, there's Matt, and we format each one of these so you can easily upload those, but they give you a huge professional image, and image is everything. I mean, that's what was the great tennis player Andre Agassi. That's when he was advertising for Canon cameras. He kind of coined that phrase, image is everything, and it is absolutely everything in social media today. So here are the graphic posters that we create for you. We create these where you can actually blow them up if you're doing like some type of a launch at a convention, or you're speaking somewhere. You can actually have these expanded so you can make them 6 by 10 or whatever. But these are more designed for all of the different social media environment, as you see in the tree in the bottom right, so that you can use them on whatever channels or on all the channels that you're on. We create all of these in a program called Canva, so you can then go in and edit them. But this allows you to have a basic design environment where we've already created all these. They look professional, they have continuity to them, and they make you look like the professional you are. This is going to be, of course, miniaturized, but I blew this up so you can actually see it expanded. But this is actually going to be what your email signature footer is going to look like, and it is huge for branding. Why? Because you're sending, like me, hundreds of emails a day, responding to everything from friends, family, to business environments. And what this gives you is an ability to passively communicate that you are an authority to everyone. You never know who it is that needs to know what you're about so they can tell someone that has the problem that you solve. So this gives your name, gives you your status, the book that you're in, shows the actual book itself. Then it tells them who you are, an entrepreneur, international keynote speaker, adventurer, gives them the links to your business environments, including, like in Matt, authority.mattmorris.com, your actual domain that will house your website that we already showed you, that will be your authority website. Then all of the icons there, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all those are built in there with your links to take people directly to your different social media, because different people like to connect with you through different channels. Now, the one thing I can't show you right now is the animation. The animation of the actual book itself will switch every 2 seconds with your profile picture. So on the bottom of your email, this will actually be animated. So what are your eyes drawn to? Your eyes are always drawn to motion. So when someone gets your email, no longer is it just going to be that static text. They're actually going to be drawn directly to the motion at the bottom of your email, and that's going to alert them to the fact that, oh my gosh, not only are you professional, not only do you have a great picture on here, but you are a published author. And then they're going to see maybe you become a best-selling author or a #1 best-selling author, and then they're going to see below that you've been seen on all of these major media outlets. So credibility leaps to authority, and it's going to do so on every single one of your emails from now on out. So the ultimate thing that we talk about here, and Matt mentioned, is the ultimate authority business card. Okay, how people perceive you. This is all about the science. That's the science, is how your perception is what is managed by rainmakers, and the grinders don't do that. So perception is everything. And this is Matt, of course, leading again with the book as an author up front. But what does this do? The book symbolizes the prestige and authority that's admired by everyone in our society. Number two, and changes the way that you are introduced both online and in person. Number three, it sets the stage for you. It starts by managing how they perceive you before you open your mouth. Whether you're making a presentation to a client at Starbucks and you push across your book to begin with, or you're doing a video conference and you open up by being introduced as an author, and the first thing that you do is show your book and talk about your story briefly to set the stage for what you're going to then present or solve. And then lastly, it's evergreen. If you're online and you're doing any type of online marketing, you're always looking to be evergreen. Evergreen means that the content that you're delivering is always there and it never grows old. Well, books are evergreen because in our society, no one throws them away. It's sacrilege. And they don't throw them away because not only are books revered, but the authors in the books are revered. So what happens is if someone doesn't do business with you today, you gave them your business card, your normal business card, they threw it in the trash when you left, it got lost in their desk, it got thrown in their glove box or in their console of their car, and they forgot about you down in the bottom of their briefcase. And they find you 6 months or a year later, they don't remember what's going on, and you get tossed by the way. Instead, the book, no one throws it away. It stays on their desk. It stays on their bookshelf. It's treated as a gift because you gave them something of value, and it makes the difference. So that's what this allows them to do. Your website will be on the back jacket of your book. It will also be on the footer of every page in the book, not just your chapter in the front, but every single page on those 250 pages. So the last thing I want to show you here is that when you want to buy your book, you buy it at wholesale. See, when we create all of this for you, basically you're the rocket, we create the boosters, and then what we do is we give you the keys to all of it. So not only do you have the keys to your Amazon account, you get to set your price. If you want to buy it at wholesale, you go inside, go in the back door basically to the author wholesale site, and you get to buy each one of your ultimate business cards for $3.70 each. roughly about that plus shipping. And there's no minimums. You can buy one, you can buy 100. Some of our authors actually have several thousand of them shipped ahead to a convention, and then they give them out at the convention to make a huge impact while they're speaking. Now, when people come to the website, when you set up the price you want, you can set it at $19.95, $24.95, $9.95, or you can set it at the actual wholesale cost, whatever you want to do. But any royalties that are generated, 100% of them are yours. We do things differently. That's why we are different from everyone else in the industry. This is a picture, actually the jacket of my book. So I want you to imagine now with me that this is your book with your name on it and your image on the cover as well as the back. Now, this book that we're launching right now is called Beyond Success. It would have your name on the title, obviously, and your picture on the front. I want you to close your eyes for a second and think about that, and think about what that would feel like when you're handing that off to someone during a presentation, while you go to someone's office, while they come to your office, while you are talking to someone on just a casual basis. And you don't even have to bring up what your business is about. You just have to say, hey, by the way, I just got published and I wanted to give you a gift of it, and I hope you have time to take a look at it, and let the book do its own work in a passive fashion. That way you don't have to always be pushing your business on social or recreational type of contacts. But this is something that can be yours and can be yours in the next 30 days if you are chosen as one of our co-authors. The last thing I want you to see here is the view. This is the view after the authority effect has done its job. We took you from Launchpad. We took you from basically doing the same thing that you've been doing but getting the same results, and it's not producing anything because you don't have any authority or don't have the authority you deserve. And what we've done is we added our boosters to you, and we broke the gravity, the hold of mediocrity on you, and we were able to accelerate or help you escape with escape velocity to the orbit where you can be seen for the celebrity expert that you are. And this is a new horizon. That's why you see the sun there peeking around the side of our planet. And that is the place that you should be living every day at an altitude where everyone can see what you can do for them, the problem that you can solve. They can hear your voice. They can hear what's inside of you and why you do what you do. So I want to say thank you for listening to this. I hope you've written down your questions. Listen to it again if you need to, so that when we get on our interview, if you have any specific questions that I haven't addressed here, I want you to be able to ask those to me so that we can keep our time respected inside that 30-minute corridor, and we can go through and get all your questions answered. I'll talk to you real soon.